Numbers 16. Korah, son of Izhar, was a Levite from the Kohathite clan. One day he called together Dathan, Abiram, and On from the Reuben tribe, and the four of them decided to rebel against Moses. So they asked 250 respected Israelite leaders for their support, and together they went to Moses and Aaron and said,
"Why do you think you're so much better than anyone else? We're part of the Lord's holy people, and He's with all of us. What makes you think you're the only ones in charge?"
When Moses heard this, he knelt down to pray. Then he said to Korah and his followers,
"Tomorrow morning, the Lord will show us the person He has chosen to be His priest, and that man will faithfully serve Him. Korah, now here is what you and your followers must do. Get some fire pans, fill them with coals and incense, and place them near the sacred tent. And the man the Lord chooses will be His priest. Korah, this time you Levites have gone too far. You know that the God of Israel has chosen you Levites from all Israel to serve Him by being in charge of the sacred tent and by helping the community to worship in the proper way. What more do you want? The Lord has given you a special responsibility, and now, Korah, you think you should also be His priest. You and your followers have rebelled against the Lord, not against Aaron."
Then Moses sent for Dathan and Abiram, but they sent back this message:
"We won't come. It's bad enough that you took us from our rich farmland in Egypt to let us die here in the desert. Now you also want to boss us around. You keep promising us rich farmlands with fertile fields and vineyards. But where are they? Stop trying to trick these people. No, we won't come to see you."
Moses was very angry and said to the Lord,
"Don't listen to these men. I haven't done anything wrong to them. I haven't taken as much as a donkey."
Then he said to Korah,
"Tomorrow you and your followers must go with Aaron to the Lord's sacred tent. Each of you take along your fire pan with incense in it and offer the incense to the Lord."
The next day, the men placed incense and coals in their fire pans and stood with Moses and Aaron at the entrance to the sacred tent. Meanwhile, Korah had convinced the rest of the Israelites to rebel against their two leaders. When that happened, the Lord appeared in all His glory and said to Moses and Aaron,
"Get away from the rest of the Israelites so I can kill them right now."
But the two men bowed down and prayed,
"Our God, you gave these people life. Why would you punish everyone here when only one man has sinned?"
The Lord answered Moses,
"Tell the people to stay away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram."
Moses walked over to Dathan and Abiram, and the other leaders of Israel followed. Then Moses warned the people,
"Get away from the tents of these sinful men. Don't touch anything that belongs to them, or you'll be wiped out."
So everyone moved away from those tents except Korah, Dathan, Abiram, and their families. Moses said to the crowd,
"The Lord has chosen me and told me to do these things. It wasn't my idea. And here's how you will know. If these men die a natural death, it means the Lord hasn't chosen me. But suppose the Lord does something that has never been done before. For example, what if a huge crack appears in the ground, and these men and their families fall into it and are buried alive, together with everything they own? Then you will know they have turned their backs on the Lord."
As soon as Moses said this, the ground under the men opened up and swallowed them alive, together with their families and everything they owned. Then the ground closed back up, and they were gone. The rest of the Israelites heard their screams, so they ran off shouting,
"We don't want that to happen to us."
Suddenly, the Lord sent a fire that burned up the 250 men who had offered incense to Him. Then the Lord said to Moses,
"Tell Aaron's son Eleazar to take the fire pans from the smoldering fire and scatter the coals. The pans are now sacred, because they were used for offering incense to me. Have them hammered into a thin layer of bronze as a covering for the altar. Those men died because of their sin, and now their fire pans will become a warning for the rest of the community."
Eleazar collected the pans and had them hammered into a thin layer of bronze as a covering for the altar, just as the Lord had told Moses. The pans were a warning to the Israelites that only Aaron's descendants would be allowed to offer incense to the Lord. Anyone else who tried would be punished like Korah and his followers. The next day, the people of Israel again complained against Moses and Aaron.
"The two of you killed some of the Lord's people."
As the people crowded around them, Moses and Aaron turned toward the sacred tent, and the Lord appeared in his glory in the cloud covering the tent. So Moses and Aaron walked to the front of the tent, where the Lord said to them,
"Stand back! I am going to wipe out these Israelites once and for all."
They immediately bowed down and prayed. Then Moses told Aaron,
"Grab your fire pan and fill it with hot coals from the altar. Put incense in it. Then quickly take it to where the people are and offer it to the Lord so they can be forgiven. The Lord is very angry, and the people have already started dying."
Aaron did exactly what he had been told. He ran over to the crowd of people and stood between the dead bodies and the people who were still alive. He placed the incense on the pan, then offered it to the Lord, and asked him to forgive the people's sin. The disease immediately stopped spreading, and no one else died from it. But 14,700 Israelites were dead, not counting those who had died with Korah and his followers. Aaron walked back and stood with Moses at the sacred tent. Numbers 17. The Lord told Moses,
"Call together the 12 tribes of Israel and tell the leader of each tribe to write his name on the walking stick he carries as a symbol of his authority. Make sure Aaron's name is written on the one from the Levi tribe, then collect all the sticks. Place these sticks in the tent right in front of the sacred chest where I appear to you. I will then choose a man to be my priest, and his stick will sprout. After that happens, I won't have to listen to any more complaints about you."
Moses told the people what the Lord had commanded, and they gave him the walking sticks from the 12 tribal leaders, including Aaron's from the Levi tribe. Moses took them and placed them in the Lord's sacred tent. The next day, when Moses went into the tent, flowers and almonds were already growing on Aaron's stick. Moses brought the 12 sticks out of the tent and showed them to the people. Each of the leaders found his own and took it. But the Lord told Moses,
"Put Aaron's stick back. Let it stay near the sacred chest as a warning to anyone who might think about rebelling. If these people don't stop their grumbling about me, I will wipe them out."
Moses did what he was told. The Israelites cried out to Moses,
"We're done for and doomed if we even get near the sacred tent."
Numbers 18. The Lord said to Aaron,
"You, your sons, and the other Levites of the Kohath clan are responsible for what happens at the sacred tent, and you and your sons will be responsible for what the priests do. The Levites are your relatives and are here to help you in your service at the tent. You must see that they perform their duties. But if they go near any of the sacred objects or the altar, all of you will die. No one else is allowed to take care of the sacred tent or to do anything connected with it. Follow these instructions so I won't become angry and punish the Israelites ever again. I alone chose the Levites from all the other tribes to belong to me, and I have given them to you as your helpers. But only you and your sons can serve as priests at the altar and in the most holy place. Your work as priests is a gift from me, and anyone else who tries to do that work must be put to death."
The Lord said to Aaron,
"I have put you in charge of the sacred gifts and sacrifices that the Israelites bring to me.
And from now on, you, your sons, and your descendants will receive part of the sacrifices for sin, as well as part of the grain sacrifices, and the sacrifices to make things right. Your share of these sacrifices will be the parts not burned on the altar. Since these things are sacred, they must be eaten near the sacred tent, but only men are allowed to eat them. You will also receive part of the special gifts and offerings that the Israelites bring to me. Any member of your family who is clean and acceptable for worship can eat these things. For example, when the Israelites bring me the first batches of oil, wine, and grain, you can have the best parts of those gifts. And the first part of the crops from their fields and vineyards also belongs to you. The people will offer this to me. Then anyone in your family who is clean may have some of it. Everything in Israel that has been completely dedicated to me will now belong to you. The firstborn son in every Israelite family, as well as the firstborn males of their flocks and herds, belong to me. But a firstborn son and every firstborn donkey must be bought back from me. The price for a firstborn son who is at least 1 month old will be 5 pieces of silver, weighed according to the official standards. However, all firstborn cattle, sheep, and goats belong to me and cannot be bought back. Splatter their blood on the altar, and send their fat up in smoke, so I can smell it and be pleased. You are allowed to eat the meat of those animals, just as you can eat the choice ribs and the right hind leg of the special sacrifices. From now on, the sacred offerings that the Israelites give to me will belong to you, your sons, and your daughters. This is my promise to you and your descendants, and it will never change. You will not receive any land in Israel as your own. I am the Lord, and I will give you whatever you need. 10% of the Israelites' crops and 1 out of every 10 of their newborn animals belong to me. But I am giving all this to the Levites as their pay for the work they do at the sacred tent. They are the only ones allowed to work at the tent, and they must not let anyone else come near it. Those who do must be put to death, and the Levites will also be punished. This law will never change. Since the Levites won't be given any land in Israel as their own, they will be given the crops and newborn animals that the Israelites offer to me.
The Lord told Moses to say to the Levites,
When you receive from the people of Israel 10% of their crops and newborn animals, you must offer 1/10 of that to me. Just as the Israelites give me part of their grain and wine, you must set aside part of what you receive as an offering to me. That amount must then be given to Aaron, so the best of what you receive will be mine. After you have dedicated the best parts to me, you can eat the rest, just as the Israelites eat part of their grain and wine after offering them to me. Your share may be eaten anywhere by anyone in your family, because it is your pay for working at the sacred tent. You won't be punished for eating it, as long as you have already offered the best parts to me. The gifts and sacrifices brought by the people must remain sacred, and if you eat any part of them before they are offered to me, you will be put to death.